A couple years ago, I couldn't even run a mile without stopping. Now I'm chasing a sub 3 hour marathon. I'm faster and stronger than I've ever been. It's been a wild ride, full of wins, losses, setbacks, so much growth. This is my hybrid athlete training journey.
Growing up, I played all sports. I played football, basketball, baseball. All throughout high school, I played baseball, and I played football freshman year, but quit after that because I was super small. I'm gonna put up a picture right here, but I was like 5'2", 120, 130. I don't know. I was tiny. Didn't really hit puberty. Was a late bloomer, so football wasn't really in the cards anymore. And I stuck with baseball. That's what I was the best at. You know, I was a starter my senior year of high school, and we lost in the tournament to go to the state tournaments. So we did really good. We were a good team. And then after that, I didn't play sports in college. I played intramurals and for fun, like basketball for fun at the rec, but no competition, nothing really serious. And I was really, obviously partying a lot, drinking a lot. Like, it's Wisconsin. That's a big thing here. And that was like my college experience was just a lot of partying, and I lifted a lot. I did Olympic lifts, and I did get pretty big and strong during that time period. But, afterwards, still there was something that needed to be filled, I felt, and it needed some sort of competition. Fasting forward a couple years, I started picking up running a little bit after graduation. Like, I'd run like once or twice a month, like nothing crazy. Then I went on vacation with my family. On vacation in May of 2023, I read a book called Endure by Cameron Hanes. And I'm from Wisconsin, so I'm a big bow hunter. I've always been a big fan of him. So I read his book, and in the book he talked about running 100 milers, 200 milers, 250 milers, foot races. And I was like, what? This it shocked me. I was like, what is this? I was so interested. So after I read that book, it literally made me want to run through a brick wall. So I signed up for my first 5K right after that, right after I got home from vacation, and ran that in 23 minutes. So about a 7:20, it was a 7:23 pace, I believe. And I look back at the pictures and I'm like, geez, I didn't look like much of a runner. I didn't even have running shoes on. I had lifting shoes on. I had a Whoop. I didn't have a watch with the screen, like a Garmin. I didn't know how to train. I ran a couple times a week during COVID and thought I was going to be in shape, and my prep leading up to that 5K was just to run a 5K like a couple days before, just to make sure I could do it, and I did. So that was my first race, my first taste of this running thing. Yeah. So after that 5K, I knew I needed to, I enjoyed it. And obviously it was like super, super hard because that was my first ever race, and I went all out and I wanted more. I signed up for my first half marathon, which would have been in October of 2023. And at the time, that was crazy. That was like, whoa, that's a lot. What are we doing? Can I even do that? Put in a good training block for that. Ended up running a 10K as like a training race, and I did okay. I think I ran a 44-minute 10K, which right now is pretty slow, but compared to where I was progressing. And then I ran my first half, and I ran it an hour and 37 minutes. And at the time, I think I just wanted to break 145. So that was great. Mission successful. I ended up placing third in my age group. So that was crazy. I didn't think that was going to happen like at all throughout my running career. That just was way out of my mind. It was just complete it in sub 145. So that went great. And then it was like, well, I got to do a full. That's something on my bucket list. We need to get it done. So signed up for a full for April of 2024. 2024, the next year, the next spring. And, trained all throughout the winter and early spring for that one. That was in Milwaukee. The goal was sub 330, and I did it in 326. I learned a lot from that race. I learned that obviously I'm very capable of doing more than I think. So that was a good eye opener for me. And I got my goal, and that was like, I did it. I checked the marathon off the bucket list. But this is when I started like really following like big time influencers in the fitness industry and runners and triathletes, and those people just motivated me so much that I was like, I gotta keep going. I gotta do something else. First marathon success. Funny story. About a month before my first marathon, the BPN team and Nick Baer posted that BPN was going to be hosting a 50-mile ultra marathon, an overnight ultra. And yeah, it was a complete lottery system. 100 people get in, and I signed up for it, literally expecting to not get picked. It's 100 people. I was like, thousands of people are going to register for this thing, so there's no chance. And then, literally, not even kidding, like 2 days before my first marathon, I found out I got picked, and I got selected from the lottery to run that race. And that was crazy. I was like, I feel like it kind of helped me in my first marathon, because I was just thinking about, now I got to run 50 miles in 8 weeks. 8 weeks after my first marathon, I'm going to have to run 50 miles overnight in Texas. And I think that kind of loosened the nerves, or took away some of the nerves from the actual marathon, that it helped me to like stay calm throughout that race. So yeah, that was crazy. Found out I got in. Had 8 weeks to train for a 50 miler, which is, that's not really that much time. Luckily, I had the base that I made going into my marathon that I just kind of built off that. Just try to build as smartly as possible, and not build super fast, and get up pretty much to at least 50 miles a week for that 50. So that's what I did. I trained for 8 weeks. I think my peak week was like 50 to 54 miles, something like that. And then went to Austin, and that was a great experience by itself. Take a look at my video from that race. It was an amazing time. Yeah, so that was my first and only ultra marathon so far. 50 miles completed. Austin, Texas. 11 hours and 7 minutes is what it took me to get to that finish line. After that, I was like, I want to do better in the marathon. So my next big race was another full. Did the Twin Cities Marathon in October of 2024. So that was about 4 months after, 3.5 months after the 50 miler, and trained for that, put in a good block. And my goal for that one was to do sub 315. And that was probably my most poorly executed race that I've ever done up to this point. I didn't prepare enough for the hills. I was cramping. I don't think I fueled enough. And my quads ended up blowing up a little bit because of the downhill. And at the end, there was 3 miles of uphill from like miles 20 to 23, which just kind of took me off course. I was on pace for sub 315 pretty much the whole race until about 20 miles, 21. Then the wheels kind of fell off, ended up with a 320. So that's my last marathon. My marathon PR is a 320 right now. The next challenge that I wanted to take on was High Rocks. And it just started blowing up on my my feed, and I watching other influencers, other big popular athletes do them, and I was really intrigued. I was like, I feel like I could do okay at that. And I signed up for Hyrox Houston 2025, which is March. Put in a 12-week block for that race, and that was honestly probably the toughest training block that I've ever been a part of, but also it was the most rewarding at the same time. My fitness just grew like crazy. I think I went like where I was at that, where I was with my 320 and where I was going into that race in March my fitness was significantly higher. I think my VO2 max increased like crazy. I think it's just because of all those circuits that you do, and it's less wear and tear on your legs when you're doing like burpees and wall balls and full body movements. It takes a little bit away from that, and it's more, like muscular endurance and aerobic. My first Hyrox, going into it, I wanted to do sub 110. I did a couple of sims before that where I was coming in below 110, just below 110 with some rest in between. So I was like, in my head, I was like, I think I could do 105, 106, but I just want 110. Take a look at my other video recapping the whole weekend, but ended up running a 105.10. I took first place in my age group at the time of the race, and then a couple days later, the stats updated, so I didn't actually take first, but I got the flag and did the whole ceremony. That's another story. I talk about that, but a 14 out of over 1,000 people couldn't be happier with that result, and it's always fun traveling to other states too. I love doing that. I love Texas as well. That was Hyrox Houston, which I definitely am going to do more of those moving forward. Hyrox is coming to Chicago in November, so I just keep my eye on that, waiting for those tickets to go on sale. So sub 60, we'll see. Which leads me into my next point. Right now, the big goal, that was only a couple months ago. Right now, the goal is to go sub 3 in the marathon on June 1st in Two Rivers, Wisconsin. We're about 5.5 weeks out right now. I just ran a half marathon last weekend in Milwaukee, which I did set another PR. So my half marathon PR right now is a 124. Huge improvement from my first half marathon of 137, which like a 12, 13 minute PR is crazy in like a month and a half of consistent training. So I would say my fitness has been almost linear at the first year, and now it's almost kind of like becoming a little bit more exponential, which is awesome. Great to see. I've been putting in a lot of work, being consistent. I think with my current fitness, sub 3 is definitely in the cards. I might even push to go a little bit faster than that. I don't know about a BQ Boston qualifying goal right now because that's sub 255, but right now the goal is sub 3. We'll see how this goes first. So my fitness is the best it has been. Hyrox put me in a Hyrox training built my base for this, and I'm super excited to keep that fitness and move it along into marathon training. So we're in the peak parts of marathon prep, 60 miles this week. Next week's peak week at 65. So it's crazy that I'm running 60-mile weeks when I didn't even run that much for my 50-mile ultra. So yeah, those have been the highlights of my fitness, my hybrid athlete journey so far. And I'm never going to stop running and lifting, and including both of those aspects into my training. So my current splits are around 3 to 5 strength training sessions a week with 6 days of running. And that's always subject to change depending on the event I'm training for. But right now with marathon training, at least 3 strength training days, sometimes 4, and then 6 runs a week. So that's my training split right now. But yeah, overall, just wanted to say that, fitness is very cumulative. Hybrid athlete training, running, lifting, endurance, in my opinion, is definitely the way to go moving forward. And I recommend that everybody give it a try in one way or the other. Sign up for a High Rock, sign up for a marathon. The availability of doing different fitness modes, different fitness competitions excites me. So now you're not doing the same thing every day. You're getting stronger, you're getting faster, and you're just becoming more fit overall. Can't wait for where this takes me and the fitness that I will accumulate. So that's my hybrid fitness journey. Thanks for watching. See you in Peak Week next week. See ya.